We'll come out of recess. We're ready for you guys, I guess.
We should put that this way up.
Yeah.
Which one's been up north? Your gracious.
Well, take that back.
You were rolling in the wrong this.
I want to
Not make it work.
And that's right.
That's a lot of good right now.
How much do you want up? All of it, or?
Well, I'm not, I guess depends on, I think most of it.
Come this way a little farther so we're not taking to the map.
We need to get a bigger meeting room.
Yeah, that's now. How you doing?
Rick Heck.
How you doing?
On Dean's Street.
Right. And what we're looking at is our display that we used back in November 2nd of 2006 for the US 20 project that goes this way on the left side is 71, the new 71 interchange. Basically, this is the existing 20, 71 interchanges to the south of that. The project actually goes about a mile west of current 71. And basically, a couple things. This is N14 and M65. Then this is the Sac County line.
N28.
That's N28.
Correct. I guess where do we want to start?
Are there any changes that borrow goods?
No. I believe the bar pits, no, I shouldn't say that. I know that there was some changes, I think, on the Corn Belt Finance. There were some changes here. I think we might have ended up buying this. We bought more land, I guess. It's not really changing the bar pit, but of what we were leaving, I believe they requested, I don't think we're done with it yet, but I think they requested that we purchase additional.
When I talked with you on the phone over along N28, you had purchased a total 80 there because of access issues, and I suggested the idea that you use the whole 80 instead of just a portion of, without displacing another farm owner to the west. Have you considered that at all?
Well, as far as our process and how we determine the borrows, I mean, we've taken short borings on the areas that we felt, and I can't necessarily speak to every borrow as far as what they found in the short borings. There's basically our geologists take a look at that. But on this,
If you found a portion of that acceptable, you would think that most of the balance of that might be.
Now, one of the issues, we do have an area that we are buying a ponding easement. There's also an issue with I don't believe it was necessarily determined to be a wetland, but because of, and I guess I can't say, there's a process for purchasing the ponding easements as well, which is separate from borrows. But to say that we can go back and as make these changes, we have a maximum. I guess I asked our construction people what they would see is typically the longest haul that we want to have, and that's one of the big factors of why we have a number of borrows throughout the whole corridor. Is we don't want to haul more. A mile is about as far as you want to haul because then you're starting to get, you pay everything over, I believe it's 1,000 feet, you're paying a haul distance, and so there's additional cost to the contractor and everything else. But
My point was that you displaced one owner, and it's relatively close proximity that I believe that you should consider using. You've already displaced or own an 80. You're using approximately a third of it for your borrow pit. It's obviously acceptable in that area for the third to be used. Rather than displace additional landowners, it makes sense to me to use the balance of that 80 for borrow pit.
which property owner are you suggesting that we eliminate?
Whatever closest one you can get to. You've got one to the west, and I'm sure you've got some across the county line too.
But a lot of what we've done, we've looked at where we have, say, landlocked parcels, and we try to use those as borrows. And to say, there's a lot of
the one there is going to be landlocked, but my point again is that you own the 80 now, you've purchased the whole 80, dissolving your 80, and rather than use a third of it and have some balance of land there in between your ponding easement and the actual borrow pit, it makes sense to me to not displace someone else when you already own the 80.
But part of, here's a lot of it has to do with balance of where you're getting dirt from and minimizing the haul distance.
Oh, I understand that.
And
Well, you know, that borrow pit on in Moreland, that last dirt work they did east of the old 20, new 20, you know, dirt 5 miles on that. So it's not
it was
always,
probably truck haul then.
that was truck haul.
And to get the best prices that we can get for hauling, we want to try to make it so it's scraper, use scrapers.
Okay.
To say,
You're looking at less than a mile right there. You're looking at 3/4 of a mile from the 80 that you bought to the next proposed borrow site.
you're saying here,
Yeah.
which is a landlocked piece.
Well, probably from the DOT standpoint, it looks landlocked, but
It's not from the
HLP
farm
is-
owner. He owns all the way around it.
he actually owns the landowner to the east.
No, yeah. HLP and State Brothers, same.
I mean, it's basically the same.
Just every time, you know, this is a difficult process in that we're giving up good fertile Iowa farmland. We want the road, but we're also giving up good soil, and we would like to see that kept at a minimum as best you can.
And anything that we don't use, we plan on disposing of. Back to,
The one parcel there, you're landlocked.
Well-
The balance of that 80,
this.
yes.
That's true, and it's same as this, but it's landlocked. I guess what I should say, we would choose this as a borrow over something that had access, because we're going to have to buy it anyway.
But you didn't understand that that does have access, that those are the same owners, same family. That is not
I'd
landlocked.
have to ask, well, our right-of-way would probably, because of separate owners, we'd probably treat it. I guess I'd have to talk to the right-of-way people as far as how they would look at that, as far as,
It's owned by the same families, farmed by the same individual.
and I don't know if this came up during the public hearing when we identified it as a,
Well,
Hey,
it wouldn't have, because it hadn't been determined you were going to buy the other 80. You didn't have that purchase done at that point, not even close.